All right, welcome people. Welcome people. We're back again for another edition. 86 Boxing here, Boxing Haven. Josh here, Boz there, holding it down in Norway. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it wasn't that great now, but it is a little better weather today. I mean, now it was rather rainy and stormy earlier, but
All right,
that's
cool.
Norway, always changing the weather, constantly changing.
I bet. It's getting dark and gloomy here right now as we speak, so it's about to be a storm of some type. We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes down. But hey, a lot of action last night. Not even just in the boxing world, but also some MMA stuff going on too. I saw some pretty shocking results and everything. But of course, the big thing in the boxing world is none other than the heavyweight division, the main division that drives everything, or at least that has been the case in the past. And it seems to be
Yeah.
getting back there, or seems to be back there at this point. But we had Oleksandr Usyk of Ukraine taking on Anthony Joshua. All the titles were on the line except for the WBC, which Fury had, and I guess essentially still has until he vacates. I guess I was hearing he had until Monday or something like that, or next week or something of that nature to vacate. But anyway, this was essentially for all the marbles. Otherwise, Ring put the heavyweight title on the line, and this was a rematch between the two. Last time around, Usyk was able to pull off the victory, shocking by some accounts. But this time around, Usyk made it look a little bit easier, though Joshua did put up a bit of a fight. Joshua
Yeah.
did put up a bit of a fight, but uh, maybe easier isn't the word. But Usyk looked good. He looked super prepared, and I know that that's something that we talked about. And even when Joshua had his moments there towards the tail end of the fight where he was really pressing Usyk, Usyk was able to withstand and take control once again. So I'm sure you've seen all of the stuff that has gone on about it.
Yeah.
Let me get your thoughts on that major matchup and what the implications are now.
Yeah, early on it was rather. I mean, even I had Usyk winning the first round, then Joshua I thought won the next two. It was close. But then Usyk took over pretty much for the next. Well, until the ninth. Oh no, sorry, the eighth round. I thought that one Joshua just edged it. It was close, but he landed the big shots. The one to the body and the one to the side of the head, a hook, right hook, I believe it was, which kind of gave him the run. In my eyes anyway. And then in the night, he had a big run, of course, as you have seen probably. And he had Usyk hurt, but I don't think he would have stopped him so easily, even if he had a strong 10th round, because Usyk is a very strong, tough guy, and he
Yeah.
came back throwing, of course, in the 10th. He won the last three rounds. I mean, he was hurt by one shot in the 10th. That was the best round of the whole fight, of course.
Hmm.
But Usyk just kept, peppering Joshua. Joshua kept eating punches like they were cookies in those last three rounds. But that show that Usyk is not really a puncher at heavyweight. Even though Joshua, you might say, can take a good punch, as we saw against Klitschko, for instance. And yeah, so it was in the end, pretty much as I expected. Joshua put up a fight. He did put up a good fight, but he was in the end, outboxed, outworked, and by the smaller, faster, and better man. You must say, of course, more nimble man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
in
have
the
to
end,
give Usyk nods at this point. Yeah, he's
yeah,
certainly the better man. Just
yeah. So I had 116, 112 for him.
okay, cool. That sounds about right. I know that there was one judge, I think it was Glenn Feldman, who had it for Joshua, and I know a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
was
people disagreed with that.
ridiculous, ridiculous. I mean,
Absolutely, and it's we still see this with the judging all the time,
yeah,
and the only way it's going to be fixed of course, is if the powers that be actually do something about bad
Yeah,
scorecards like that, suspend those guys and guys or gals, and
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, some gals also have terrible scores.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
certainly.
yeah, it's gonna take some major action. I mean, by the guys on the top, of course. And the problem is a lot of those same judges that give atrocious scorecards. They just keep, working
Yeah.
and judging big fights, and that's not good. Of course,
Yeah,
that's
that's the thing. It doesn't look good for the sport in that sense because you're right.
yeah,
They end up getting even bigger and better fights even after they have something like this as a scorecard. So, from all
yeah,
indications, Glenn Feldman he won't be going anywhere, and he'll be in another championship fight. And hey, maybe he'll judge it properly in this next one, but it's clear at times that yeah, there's something going on. There's something
yeah.
going on, and the sport of boxing always seems to have it going
Something
on.
is rotten in the state of boxing.
Yes, yes, that is very much true. But despite the bad judging on one of those cards for sure, the fight in itself, as you mentioned, people seem to think it was a pretty decent fight, a pretty decent
Yeah,
heavyweight fight.
yeah,
And
it
despite
was.
Joshua's shortfall, he had a decent showing with his work under Robert Garcia, I guess, for some points. But
Yeah,
Usyk,
Garcia.
though, as I think we both were discussing, he went back into the lab and he continued to work, and he just wanted to make sure that he was better this time around. And you could tell that, yeah, he's comfortable at heavyweight now, and he's the man for all intents and purposes. We know that, of course, the name that's going to keep popping up is Tyson Fury. So it'll be a matter of whether
Yeah.
Fury comes out of retirement. And if that is the case, that would certainly be an interesting fight right there. You would have two guys or two heavyweights who are skilled and can move very well.
Yeah.
Fury, of course, being much bigger than than Usyk,
Oh yeah.
even more bigger than that Joshua was. And shout
That's
out to Rodolfo Rivera, 86
pretty much.
Haven Connection. Rodolfo, thanks for coming in, buddy. We appreciate you
Yeah,
dropping by.
everybody, Rodolfo. You
But
can always rely on Rodolfo.
always rely on Rodolfo.
99% of the time, at least.
Yes, we appreciate you dropping in, buddy, for sure. Now,
Yeah,
thinking about that, of course,
yeah.
because it's going to come up, the hypothetical, of course, Josh or Usyk, Tyson
Fury.
Fury. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Oh, that's a really great, yeah, big difference, huge difference in size, of course. But yeah, I don't know really. I can see Usyk not really being able to land that much, of course, against Fury as he did against Joshua, simply because Fury is taller, you, uh,
Yeah,
you know, 3 inches taller actually than Joshua, and also he is pretty good, at defending himself, even though he can be caught, and hurt, but it's by guys like Wilder, like who are
yeah,
almost his size and are such great punchers. So Usyk cannot do that. But he can, of course, the best thing for him would be just to move and box and the whole time and try to win on points, of course, to win enough rounds, not get knocked out, knocked down or even out, even though I don't think Fury really hits that hard. But
uh,
who knows? He is so big, if he just wrestled Usyk down entire time, he could wear him out, and then I could see possibly some kind of stoppage in the late rounds, of course, if he really managed to tire out Usyk and then just hit him with a lot of punches, maybe. But as I said, Usyk is so tough. I mean, he's not human.
yeah,
So that's a pretty open fight, I think, 50-50 more or less.
yeah. Yeah. Outside with you there. Shout out Rodolfo. Don't call me reliable Rodolfo for nothing. Appreciate you. Listening to you guys while working in the backyard, so I'll be listening more than commenting. Hey, that's all good, buddy. Hey, we
Hot
just appreciate
Rod
you being here.
Rodolfo.
We appreciate you
Yeah,
being here, so it's all good. But yeah, I think it's a 50-50 fight as well. Of course, Fury will likely come in as the favorite, and I think a lot of that would have to do with, of course, his size and the fact that he's been at heavyweight. Usyk, of
yeah,
course, this was
old,
his fourth fight.
yeah,
This was his fourth fight, and
yeah,
he's looked as good as ever, and I think he's fully transitioned to heavyweight now in terms of his movement, his style, his size, kind of the weight he'll be around or whatever.
yeah.
Because his first two fights weren't much to write home about in terms of Chaz Witherspoon and Chisora.
Chisora.
Derek Chisora. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think he's there now, and Fury though. Yeah, so Usyk came in at like 220 something. Fury last time out was 277. So, or at least
right.
when he fought Joshua, I can't remember what he was at
Yeah,
when he fought, or not when he fought Joshua. I'm sorry, but when he fought Wilder, I can't remember where he was at when he fought.
he was like, yeah,
Uh,
75 or something.
yeah, 70. So what is his name? Oh, Dillian White. So
White,
when
yeah,
he fought Dillian White, I can't remember where he was at, but he was somewhere around there. You
he
know.
was just as heavy, I think. He
Okay.
not
So yeah.
even heavier. Yeah,
So him leaning on, and Josh was a big guy, but he was like 247.
yeah,
So
he's,
it's gonna
you
be
know,
more weight leaning on you for sure. And
yeah,
Fury definitely does that when he had you there on the inside. And I think that helped
yeah,
him wear down Wilder as well. But
yeah,
I will say that Fury, between the Wilder and White fights, if he takes on uh, Usyk, he'll be facing someone who's actually a better boxer than those two. So
yeah.
he'll have to fight a different game.
Mm. I can definitely see Usyk, just beating him by outboxing him, not really, exchanging or anything. That would not be really good for him. But just move and box and land those jabs and all that, all the other punches he throws in combinations, most often. So it was really a joy watching him again. Do this to such a big guy, such a
Yeah.
big name. Also, just the way he kept landing those, combinations and counters and that, how do you call that jab, upwards jab, yeah, that kept hitting Joshua in the early rounds, especially. That was very fun to watch.
Yeah. That is crazy seeing him,
Hi,
but he moves so well, and I think that shows. Hyphy, what's up? Appreciate you dropping in, buddy. Big ups.
what's up, man?
Got
French
hyphy in
time
this
for
thing. We appreciate it when you drop by. No doubt about it. Um, but yeah, you're right. I think that this has helped show that you don't have to be 6'6", 6'7" to have success in the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
Even though we've had a
that's
lot of big guys at the top end here over the last, I would say, decade or two. Uh, Even when Vladimir and Vitaly were, the guys.
yeah.
Vladimir, of course, he's a big
You're
guy.
right.
He's 6'6" himself, and
Yeah,
he's lost to smaller guys, of course.
yeah.
Uh,
Leon Brewster, for instance,
yeah,
he's
Laban Brewster.
like my height. I believe 6 feet or 6'1" or something like that. But that
Yeah,
was, yeah,
that goes to show that when you have that right combination of skill and you're in it, and you just have the right mindset and you're in there. Yeah,
yeah,
that size doesn't matter as much. Of course, it does matter to a certain degree in terms of some of the things that we're talking about, depending on your fighting style and all. Like Fury, of course, he's big. He can move. He can move a
yeah.
lot better than many of the heavyweights, even those that are
He's
smaller. You know?
Yeah, that's the problem with him. He's so big, but he can move
Yeah,
better
yeah,
than anybody of his size, anyway, in boxing.
yeah.
So that's what makes him so successful, so hard to beat, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably less of the punches that Usyk would worry about, but certainly when you're tied up and he's leaning
Mhm.
and putting his weight on you, that definitely makes a difference when you're that big. So that's where that
Yeah.
size certainly comes into play there.
And he's got what Joshua, I think, almost always like the mental strength. He's
Oh
just
yeah,
tremendously strong that way, man. It's amazing,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's
You're right.
it's part of why he got up, in the first fight in the last round against Joshua. I mean, how many others would have gotten up from that punch?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So, and he also has, of course, really amazing chin, but
Yeah.
it's also as I know I did watch some. I don't know if he was a former boxer, but he said like 80% of the time when boxers are knocked out, they can get up, but they don't want to. That's
Oh
what.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you can see that sometimes. You can certainly see that at times, depending on
Yeah.
in certain fights or whatever.
But for him, it's like the gypsy pride. I mean, he's not gonna if he can. If he was hit by a lightning bolt, he's gonna try to get up. It's not like it's not.
Hey, got to give it to him for that. You're right, because
Yeah,
they did get up for some some big punches.
yeah,
Got to hand it to him without a
yeah.
doubt. Now,
He's
now of course, let me shout out my mother there.
oh
Good morning,
hello.
son and Boz. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Appreciate you dropping in, of
Happy
course.
Sunday.
Appreciate you dropping in. And I was gonna say that, of course, there was this a little bit of controversy after the fight. Joshua went on this bizarre rant or whatever you want to call it
Yeah,
in the aftermath of the fight. I actually didn't see at first where he was apparently angry. I don't know at the decision or whatever when he got out of the ring the first time, but I knew that
yeah,
he was out of the ring before he ended back up in the ring with the
yeah.
mic again. But
That's
I didn't
right.
know that he was angry and he was actually like he wanted to charge forward at Usyk's team. And I'm just like, what's going on there, man? But uh,
Yeah,
I will say that I wasn't expecting that from Joshua. I think it was just the emotions of the fight in the aftermath and taking another loss at this guy that I'm sure you hear it for him. I'm sure he's hearing it. It's playing out in the media, and this smaller guy who came up from cruiserweight, and Anthony Joshua is viewed as this Adonis, and the fact that he actually is losing to this guy, I'm
yeah,
sure that played into his mind. But yeah, that was pretty bizarre right there at the tail end. I feel like Usyk deserved to have that moment first, but yeah, I guess that's a sport for you.
yeah.
Joshua, of course, was the guy who, with all for all intents and purposes, I'm sure that's who they wanted to win. Of course, probably from the
Yeah,
onset when this initially started with Matchroom. Of course, him being the big fighter that he is, but doesn't work like that sometimes.
that's what kind of irritated me. It's kind of they build up so much hype around him during those press conferences. It's like they were almost expecting him to win this time, and also by knockout, of course. So but it turns out the guy talks the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk. So
Yeah,
that's how it goes. So, but once again, it was his ego that was wounded, and losing, as you said, to a smaller guy, a former cruiserweight like he did, it was really, embarrassing for him too much simply.
yeah,
And yeah, I know that just before the fight, one of the last things he was saying, I don't know exactly, but he was really like, yeah, people wanna see what I'm about, something like that. This time, it was like, but
we did.
no, I
We
mean,
saw what he was about. Just not enough to beat Usyk.
yeah, yeah, he tried, he did his
You
best.
tried.
I mean,
Mhm.
you gotta give him credits for that, but in the end, he was just not good enough, and in the end, he pretty much was wasted in the last couple of rounds. He
Yeah.
looked pretty much out of it. And
Without a doubt. Yeah, yeah, that was the case. Let me shout out David Delegati. Appreciate you dropping by. He says, "Hey, 86, just want to say thanks for making these videos on these ancient fighters. I feel I wouldn't learn as much without it. Hey, appreciate you, man. Yeah, no
mm,
problem at all. It's just a thing, a little passion for the history. Hey, I'm constantly learning myself. There are
yeah,
guys out there like Scrapbook Boxing, Hardline Boxing Talk, Random McKissick Thoughts. They're doing that stuff. Boz, he knows a ton. He knows more about the actual 70s,
well,
80s, and
yeah,
90s and
that's
all that
right.
stuff than I do. I usually go pretty far back.
My
Uh,
favorite. But I've been also reading up on the 50s, doing some threads about the 50s,
okay,
early
yeah.
60s heavyweights. That
Yeah, that was
was
a good time too, for sure,
yeah,
in
that
terms of
was a very interesting era. That it isn't always talked about as much.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I like just going back and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely, David. We appreciate you dropping in,
Mm,
sharing your thoughts and comments and everything. So yeah, we're gonna keep plugging away.
maybe,
Appreciate it.
yeah.
But yeah, you're right, Boz. In terms of yeah, Joshua. Yeah, that I think yeah, that's it's that realization. This is where he's at now in his
Mm,
career. But he has sort of there is a map or a blueprint that is out there, and that is Deontay Wilder, who too found himself in a situation where he just couldn't beat the guy that would take him over the top and make him the number one guy out there. So he's in that similar situation, and of course he's going to be coming back taking on Robert Helenius in
yeah.
October, I believe, right? And for all intents and purposes, I think that the majority of us feel that Wilder is going to win that fight. Now, Helenius certainly has a chance if he's able to land a big punch of
Yeah.
his own. But
If he wins, it will be the end of Wilder, most
yeah,
likely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in all likelihood, yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna have tough sledding with Wilder,
Yeah.
just given his power. Uh,
Wilder should be able to win, and put it
yeah,
that way.
and
Unless
Wilder
he's
is
really,
taller and longer, and then Helenius is a
yeah.
big guy. So I'm sure
I
it's pretty
think they're
crazy.
about the same height, actually. But
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew they were somewhere around there, but it's
Mm,
crazy. I know when you're such a large heavyweight, and then you run into
yeah.
someone who is the same
Just
size or
as,
bigger.
yeah.
When you're already one of the big guys, and you're sort of a rarity in yourself,
Yeah.
fighting in a division. But
I
yeah, it
was
should
just,
be interesting. That should be
yeah.
a fun fight. I don't see it going 12 rounds without a doubt. So I think it might end early. Maybe
Mm,
first, maybe the first round actually. First one or two rounds. So it should
mm,
be exciting. But what I would say is Joshua. I saw something where Joshua is saying that he wants to come back in November or December, assuming assuming Wilder gets past Helenius. Wouldn't it be interesting if all roads
yeah.
led to Joshua versus Wilder in December 2022? Now I know that's not going to happen, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, I don't think Joshua is keen. He never was too keen on fighting Wilder, but especially not now when he lost for a third time. So I think what I was thinking about actually who would make a good opponent for Usyk was Frank Sanchez. I thought that
Oh
would
yeah,
be a good fight because they're about the same. It's not such a big difference in height. Sanchez is just an inch taller, and he's also a
yeah,
rather good technical boxer,
yeah. You're
not
right.
a slugger.
Yeah, the casual fans aren't going to that it's not going to have that same luster, of course. But you're right,
Yeah.
that would be a good fight and probably
Mm,
fairly close matchup skill wise between the two because Sanchez is a very skilled fighter without a doubt. And given
yeah.
the fact that he is around the same size and
Mm,
they both move well for heavyweights. I remember I was thinking a Jogba was going to potentially knock out Frank Sanchez at some point in that fight. But Frank
yeah. That
Sanchez, the
was,
way he moves, Jogba was left there just looking unable to really throw anything. So he would be a match for Usyk in that standpoint.
Yeah.
or from that standpoint. I know Sanchez, he probably comes around about the same weight. They're probably generally around there. That would be
Mm.
a good fight, as a matter of fact. A good technical
Yeah.
fight. If you're into seeing a good technical heavyweight
Yeah.
matchup, which I'd be down for, then I would like to see that. It's just a matter of
So a
I guess we have to look
question.
at how the rankings kind of
Yeah.
play out. I don't know where he sits right now as far as the overall rankings. He may be at the high end of a couple of the
Yeah.
sanctioning bodies or whatever, but that would be a good one for sure.
I was gonna say, I know. I think Hergovich is actually one of the mandatories. He won the IBF eliminate.
Hergovich.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh yeah, that's a fight right there. We're
yeah,
gonna have to get to right there.
yeah. That was
Uh, matter of fact, since we're there, Hergovich Zhang.
pretty unusual. I mean, not quite what I expected, but I didn't know Zhang that well, before. But the guy has a tremendous chin. First of all, he was caught by many shots, many clean shots by Hergovich, but he barely winced. He was like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah,
While he just managed to hurt Hergovich with almost everything he landed, every big punch anyway. But Hergovich also showed he's got a pretty good chin himself, and
yeah,
he came back to his credit. He won. I see some people are not satisfied with the decision, but I don't think they they are right because Zhang he did score a knockdown, which was kind of funny, and he did win like 3 or 4 rounds. I thought, but not more than that, because in the
oh, I had
last,
him winning more than that.
well, maybe, but in the last 3 rounds he was kind of tired, and not doing much. So
You're being biased.
Hergovic was no Hergovic, especially in the last round, he really
Oh,
started,
that's funny.
teeing off on him, So I thought
No, I feel you.
I thought Hergovic won like 115, 112. That was a good scorecard, I thought. Yeah.
All right, yeah, I had Zhang up. I know going into round seven, so I thought
Oh,
Zhang might have won in the aftermath of the fight. I felt that he won, but that being said, those last from round
no,
seven,
no, no.
I was a little bit distracted in watching, so I didn't
Mm.
see everything as clearly because I was also on this podcast or on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube doing another video, but
Right.
but Jane looked bad in that last round. I will say that.
Yeah.
In the 12th
He
round, he looked bad. So
took
that could have
many
been the
shots.
deciding factor right there. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious Hergovic has the better technique. He
yeah.
definitely is the better boxer. And while Zhang is just a slugger, with raw power, really, And as I
Yeah.
said, but also he weighed considerably heavier. I think he was 275 or something, while Ergovic was 245. So there was
Okay.
like 30 pounds difference, pretty big, difference.
Okay.
So
Yeah. 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 Zhang. Yeah, you can tell his power. He's definitely got some power. I had seen him a few times. I had made a video on him about a year ago, called it "The Curious Case of Zhang Jalei."
yeah,
Because I just thought, with his age and everything, he was going to definitely have to be on the uptick there
yeah,
as far
he's
as if
like
he's trying to be in true contention.
39 or
Yeah,
something
he's
like.
39 now. But interestingly enough, I guess I wasn't thinking, but yeah, he's got 20. This was his like 25th or 26th fight, so he has
Yeah.
put in a lot of work considering he turned pro fairly late. But yeah, this turned out to be a better fight than I think some
Yeah,
expected because many, myself included, I thought that the youth of Hergovich would prevail, but I tweeted last minute. I was like, you know what? Something tells me Zhang is about to get him out of there knockout. So that's what I tweeted
yeah,
last minute. Hey, he had some good shots that he was landing
he
there
did.
early
Yeah,
for
it did
sure.
look like, Ergovic was in real trouble. But at the same time, he was cut like here
Oh
in a
yeah,
bad
man,
spot.
that was a big headbutt.
Yeah, that seemed to affect him because you saw
Yeah,
several times he went like He was kind of almost walking away for a moment.
Yeah, I
Like
will say seeing that hit, but I didn't see it when
where
it
I am,
first
where am I?
happened.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, but when they played the replay, that was a big thing because Jane was
yeah,
coming in and it was like full force. Uh, so yeah, that's tough stuff. Of course, just dealing with hitbutts in general. But yeah,
yeah. It was,
he showed some resolve because there were points out there you could tell that he
yeah.
was bothered,
He did.
probably
He
hurt,
was.
but he withstood. So I got to give
Yeah,
Hergovich his props in that regard. And to
he's
be able
got.
to take the shots from Zane, whose big thing is his power, that shows that he has some metal to him. So
He's got
Hergovich
the
is a
right
good tip.
mentality. Yeah, definitely. He's got the right mentality and a warrior mentality, and he's very big guy, very also tough.
Oh yeah,
Uh, and you saw, even though he was shaken badly several times, he was really hurt, but
yeah, yeah,
he would bounce back, after a while,
yeah. And
each
they were
time.
banking on the latter part of the fight, which I think definitely helped him to actually win it. Shout out sliding counter. Appreciate you coming in, buddy. He says AJ looks mentally it hasn't been the same since Ruiz
Yeah,
won in the first fight. He freezes in exchanges now. Psychologically, he's not the same. Yeah, I feel you. I feel
yeah.
you for sure.
Every fight where he cannot really dictate the tempo, he loses. That's as simple as that. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I feel like when he fought Vladimir Klitschko, the way he got up off the canvas is like, okay, yeah, this guy, yeah, he will do
Yeah,
what it
that's it.
takes. But
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't the same with Ruiz.
no,
Even though he was winning, and as a matter of fact, he had dropped Ruiz with what seemed to be even a harder shot than what Ruiz dropped him with. So
yeah,
yeah, I guess that came down to that sort of mental piece of it. But
yeah. Well, it
hey,
was a little bit hard,
yeah, cause
bad place to get hit in the
yeah,
tempo. Yeah, but
yo,
yeah,
yeah, that definitely plays into it as well. So
but
yeah,
yeah, it
AJ
was.
got some
Yeah,
thinking to do to get himself back in the right mindset to continue on.
I mean, his mind is his biggest enemy, as I said before on a podcast just a few days ago. Uh, with my buddy Jamie Bourne from Punch Perfect Boxing. Hell, shout out to him.
Oh, sliding
Yeah,
counter,
what?
sliding counter.
Oh yeah, there's him. No, I
Oh, you're talking about Tiffany.
I was talking about Punch Perfect Boxing from.
Oh, punch perfect. I said, okay, cool, cool. But
Yeah,
yeah, sliding
well,
counter. Shout out sliding counter though for
yeah,
sure.
we were talking about that fight, and I said, like, Joshua is his biggest enemy is his own mind, and he was like, yeah, that's right. Jamie said he does go into his own mind too much, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, agree there.
and I think that's what we saw after the fight too, with his after the fight speech. He was in his own head right there.
Yeah. So he's got problems, definitely. He should take a little. Well, he did already take 11 months off, but still, I don't know really if he should continue boxing. Well, not such big fights anyway for a while. Hmm.
Yeah. What do you think of sliding counter? He says he'd like to see Herkovich versus Sanchez. That's an
Oh
interesting
yeah,
matchup, or versus Valine. Aro
why not?
Valine.
I would like to see both fights. Yeah, why not? Especially Wallin because he's also very well. He's not a puncher. I wouldn't say Wallin is a big puncher, but he's a tough guy also who brings the fight. Of course, when he
Yeah.
saw Fury, so why not? It would be a good one.
Yeah, I was trying to watch Otto Valine's last fight, but they didn't show it. I couldn't find it live. It was some kind of little situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be certainly a good one. Yeah, Hergovich. Hergovich. Yeah, that would be another. Hergovich versus Sanchez. That would be a good one as well.
Mm.
Um, and it's interesting now. A lot of people were turning down Hergovich fights, but now that he has a belt, maybe some people will kind of jump on it a bit more. There was some
Yeah.
kind of there was a WBA was like interim or super or not super, but it was some kind of WBA title, right? That you mentioned that was on the line in
Uh,
Jang versus or is mandatory
Hergoch.
Hergovich, yeah.
No, it was the IBF Eliminator
Oh,
fight.
IBF eliminated.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess he doesn't have a belt actually.
No,
So,
no, it's but Dubois has the
oh yeah,
the
Dubois has the WBA. You're
the
right. He shouldn't.
ordinary, the
He shouldn't.
regular, yeah, WBA.
I like Daniel Dubois, but boxing is crazy. He shouldn't have a
Yeah,
belt right now.
no, no, of course not.
Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing and Jazz. Salute to you. Salute, brother.
Boxing jazz.
Check out Bruce Gas, man. Hey, it's a treat. And he has
Cool, cool.
guests on his show. A lot of great boxing discussion.
Hmm.
Tim Witherspoon's on there recently.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
it's always
yeah.
great discussions there on Bruce Gas, Boxing and Jazz, and
Thing is
more.
fun to listen to.
Salute, Bruce. But Rodolfo Rivera, yeah, Frank always be calling out all the big heavyweights on Insta, even confronted Tyson in real life. Yeah, Frank sent his. I get the sense that yeah, he'll take on anyone. He seems to
Hmm.
be down. I think he said I'm the only heavyweight fast enough to compete with Usyk. These guys are too slow. Hey, I can see him there. I think he
Yeah.
definitely is fast enough. He has
Oh, but
the skill and everything.
the fighters that the other heavyweights that are Usyk size, like Joseph Parker, he's not that fast, really. He's a pretty heavy guy, and but I would also like if Parker wins the fight with Joyce, I would like to see him fight. Yeah, fight Usyk. Yeah, that would be a really good. Even I think even maybe even more competitive than with Joshua.
Yeah,
Because Parker is that good, but he doesn't always fight so well that he as well as he could, as he can.
yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Let me see here. Yeah, Bruce Gas, thanks for the kind words. No problem, Bruce. Hey, appreciate it. Without a doubt. Sliding counter agrees with Rodolfo. Peace, peace, bro, from
Rodolfo, what's
Bruce
the
Gas
guy
at
called?
sliding counter. But oh yeah, they're about to do the actual fight review over there on Fight Night Scores channel. I
Oh
guess I got the
yeah,
timing mixed up.
we better. Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't you supposed to be at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, I had the time mixed up. Like, what the heck? I was thinking it was actually
At 8.
an hour from now, but I guess
Yeah,
get thrown off with that. But it is what it is. We'll be going back up in there. You
yeah,
ready? Do you want to go check it out now? You ready?
yeah. Why not?
Dang it! Hey, we're gonna have to redo this one, people. We'll be back.
Think
We
we
have to
pretty
extend
much.
this podcast, or we're gonna have to extend this episode at some point.
Yeah,
Uh,
we pretty much did cover like all the big
we covered
fights.
the big ones. There were some
Yeah,
other fights out there.
yeah. Callum Smith
Oh
being
yeah,
knocked
Calvin
out.
Smith. He looked good. He looked good.
What a knockout! Yeah.
Hey, and that guy he was fighting, that French guy, I thought he
He's-
looked pretty decent too.
yeah,
I thought he
he
looked pretty
is.
decent. I'd like to see him again.
I thought
Uh,
he won the first 2 rounds actually.
yeah,
And
and he wasn't scared in there, wasn't backing down. So I like that mentality right there. He
yeah,
recognized and realized what the moment was, and he was like, "Hey, I'm not stopping." So but yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna head over to Fight Night Scores, that channel. Fight Night Scores. It's a scoring gap, pretty comprehensive. It's a very good
Mm,
one, and I think that the judges in the sport should be using it universally. But we'll
well,
see if that happens.
yeah,
I
I
doubt it.
can't wait. Canelo. I don't think I really scored that fight. Canelo Golovkin won.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, so we'll catch you
Right.
all here somewhat later. We're gonna redo this thing at some point to pull in some of those other fights. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna head over there and we'll see you there. But thank you all for dropping in, and everyone who did drop in: David, Bruce, Slide Encounter, Hyphy, Rodolfo, my mom.
Rodolfo.
I mean, hey,
Yeah,
packed house. We
Mr.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Much
Right.
love.
Mhm.